Welcome to this explainer. If you've been working through the Cyber Essentials requirements, you already know it's an intensely rigorous process. You've likely configured the firewalls, tightened user access, and patched your systems. But how do you cross that final precarious bridge from implementation to official certification? Today, we're focusing strictly on Module 8, Assessment Readiness, Evidence, and Maintenance. We're going to walk through the final crucial steps of turning your meticulously implemented security controls into a verified certification. This is where theory meets reality, and where you prove your controls are actually protecting your organization right now.
Passing Cyber Essentials doesn't happen by accident, and it definitely doesn't happen just because you have a good IT policy. This brilliant quote sets the stage perfectly. The goal here is an honest pass. Certification isn't about claiming you're secure on paper, it's about relentlessly proving it in practice. Having a beautifully written document outlining your security intentions is great for internal alignment, but assessors aren't looking for intent. They're looking for an implemented, undeniable, and currently active reality. Here is our roadmap for getting you across the finish line safely. We'll be covering 1. Readiness and the questionnaire. 2. Evidence over unsupported assertion. 3. The board-level declaration. 4. Post-submission and assessor queries. 5. Ongoing compliance and maintenance. And 6. The boundaries of certification.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Readiness and the questionnaire.
You know, readiness isn't a feeling. It's a highly verifiable state. Before you even touch that self-assessment questionnaire, you have to understand that every single answer must be true for your defined scope, current at the exact moment of submission, and backed by hard evidence today. You must answer the exact wording of the questionnaire, which is currently known as the Danzel question set. And most importantly, you have to verify technically before answering. Why? Because of configuration drift. What was true 6 months ago during an internal audit might not be true today. You literally have to log into the systems and check the consoles. Never rely on memory or assumption when finalizing your answers.
Assessors are marking against exact wording, so understanding the difference between a weak and a strong response is critical. A weak answer just pastes in generic policy text, says a vague yes, and describes what you intend to do. This is a classic automatic failure. Assessors do not care that your policy says all users will use strong passwords. A strong answer, on the other hand, states exactly what is configured right now, provides specific detail, and notes exactly where the evidence source is located. It is the fundamental difference between saying, "we try to do this," and proving, "we actively do this."
Moving on to Section 2, Evidence over unsupported assertion.
This brings us to a major psychological shift you have to make during preparation. In the eyes of an assessor, if it isn't documented with hard evidence, it simply doesn't exist. Choosing evidence over unsupported assertion is everything. Saying, "we change default passwords," or "all devices are patched," is an unsupported assertion. It means absolutely nothing. You need hard evidence, a config screenshot showing changed credentials, or a compliance report showing exact installation dates to prove you actually hit that required 14-day window. Hard evidence protects you and creates an ironclad defense against any potential assessor queries. The most efficient way to manage all this proof is by building an evidence register. Let's look at a fictional life sciences company, Helix Bridge, for example. By mapping each control area, like access and MFA or updates, directly to the specific evidence type, its exact location, the date, and the owner, they make their certification process incredibly smooth. You should absolutely build this register in step with your questionnaire so everything is indexed, organized, and ready to go the moment you need to reference it. Now, if you outsource your IT, there is a vital boundary you cannot ignore. Your managed service provider, or MSP, supplies the technical facts. They configure the patches and export the firewall rules, but your organization entirely owns the answers, accepts the accountability, and holds the assessment declaration. You can outsource the technical configuration, for sure, but you can never outsource the responsibility of the assessment itself. Which brings us to a rather uncomfortable elephant in the room. As you prepare to hit that submit button, if an answer turns out to be factually wrong, or if a control completely fails during a breach, who actually takes the fall? Well, that brings us to Section 3, the board-level declaration. Accountability lands squarely at the top of your organization. Because Cyber Essentials is a verified self-assessment, a board member or an equivalent senior exec must formally sign off and declare the answers are accurate. But listen, they should never sign blind. A board member assuming liability without understanding the operational reality is a recipe for disaster. You must give them a plain language summary of the scope, state clearly what's in place, point them to that evidence register, and disclose any residual risk or last-minute gaps that were closed.
Explain that this is a point-in-time status that requires ongoing maintenance, and achieve a fully informed recorded sign-off. Next up is Section 4, Post-Submission and Assessor Queries. Once you have that signature, you step into the post-submission journey. You submit the questionnaire, the external assessor marks it, and they may come back with clarification queries. A critical takeaway here is that an assessor sending you queries is a completely normal part of the process. It is not a failure. You just consult your handy evidence register, respond and remediate any minor issues, and keep the process moving smoothly toward a final positive outcome.
Okay, so let's say you clear all the queries and you pass. You got the certificate. It's a great moment and you should celebrate it. But we now have to face a stark reality check. How long does that certification actually prove you are secure moving forward? That leads us directly into Section 5, Ongoing Compliance and Maintenance. You see, certification is just a snapshot of your security on one single specific day. It doesn't magically guarantee you'll be secure tomorrow. That is why you must commit to a recurring maintenance timeline. Monthly, you need to review updates and check MFA on new services because new accounts spin up incredibly fast. Quarterly, you should do a firewall rule and privileged access review because temporary admin rights have a bad habit of becoming permanent. And annually, you do a full readiness review and certification renewal. You have to commit to this cadence.
Furthermore, compliance isn't just driven by the calendar. It's driven by real-world events, things like adding new laptops or mobiles to the estate, a department silently adopting a new cloud service or SaaS application, new starters, leavers, or role changes, a change of your MSP or contractor access, or really any change to the boundary or systems in scope. These triggers must instantly prompt a compliance check. You have to verify that your required baseline is maintained across the board.
Finally, let's cover Section 6, the boundaries of certification.
First off, don't overclaim what you've achieved. Standard Cyber Essentials is a verified self-assessment with a board declaration and independent marking. Cyber Essentials Plus, on the other hand, covers the exact same 5 controls, but it adds independent external vulnerability and internal technical scanning of your devices by a qualified assessor. And remember, you need a valid standard CE first before you can step up to Plus.
And critically, especially for those of you operating in complex environments like the life sciences sector, you have to understand the limits of this framework. Cyber Essentials absolutely does not replace your GxP obligations, data integrity, or computerized system validation. It does not cover medical device product cybersecurity. It does not prove full UK GDPR compliance. It is not an ISO 27001 certification, and it is certainly not a complete incident response capability. It is a fantastic IT security foundation, but you still have to build out the rest of the compliance picture yourselves.
So as we wrap up this explainer on Module 8, I want to leave you with a critical question to ponder. Passing the assessment proves your baseline security today, but are you ready to relentlessly prove it again tomorrow? The real challenge, and honestly the true value, lies in building a culture where evidence, accountability, and ongoing compliance are just a natural part of your daily routine. Thanks for diving into this with me, and best of luck crossing that bridge to certification.